Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. We're glad you joined us. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Aultman Health Systems, Studio Arts and Glass, and Genuine Appraisals and Liquidations. Today, Brad and I are broadcasting from our administrative offices, and our special guest is Ashley Everetts, Pulmonary Rehabilitation Lead, Cardiopulmonary Rehabilitation at Aultman Deuble. That's pretty long. At Aultman Deuble Heart and Vascular Hospital. Good morning and welcome to the show, Ashley.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Are you considering quitting smoking, or is there someone in your life that you want to help quit smoking? When someone takes a big step of deciding to quit smoking, family, friends, and coworkers can make a huge difference by giving their help and support. If your friend isn't quite ready, try to see it from their side. First, for most smokers, cigarettes have been a steady companion for a long time. Some reluctance is normal, and it doesn't mean your friend won't be able to quit for good. First, let your friend know you understand their doubts, then suggest they list their reasons for quitting. Quitting smoking is a journey and a process. It's not a single event. Access resources to get tips on what you can do from the start to help someone quit and to help them stay quit. Plan on being there for the long run and helping them meet the challenges along the way. This morning, we're going to talk with Ashley about the reasons to stop smoking, managing the physical effects of quitting smoking, and most importantly, how to receive help and support when going through the process. We'd like to remind our listeners that our program will also be on our podcast. Please look for Health Matters with the Medicine Center in your favorite podcast app, and please subscribe.
So, Ashley, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your background and training and your specialty.
Well, I was born and raised right here in Canton, Ohio. I ventured just a little east to earn my Bachelor's of Science degree in exercise physiology and biology from the University of Mount Union, where I also studied psychology. I'm currently the pulmonary rehabilitation lead. In addition to that, I also work in cardiac rehab as an exercise lead and as a tobacco treatment specialist with Aultman's Give It Up program. I received my training for tobacco cessation through the Breathing Association in Columbus, Ohio, and my specialty and focus is in preventative medicines in these realms.
So, how many people are affected by tobacco-related illnesses?
It's quite a large number. The number is actually 16 million or more Americans are living with disease caused by smoking.
Gee.
So for every one person who dies because of smoking, at least 30 other people have serious smoking-related illnesses. This number is only really expected to rise if smoking continues at the current rate, especially among the US youth. I think everyone notices that there's a lot more younger people that are smoking or vaping now. That number is about 5.6 million of today's Americans younger than 18 are expected to die prematurely because of smoking-related illnesses. So if you take a look at those under 18 currently, that's about 1 in every 13 teenagers who are alive today. So a pretty staggering number.
Wow, that is. That's amazing. You know, based on the amount of cigarette butts I find in the parking lots, I think everybody smokes. I can't believe it anymore. So, but anyway, so how does smoking affect our appearance, especially as you age?
That's a big question, especially for our younger people who don't exactly think that smoking is a bad thing, or as we are getting older and thinking about how our bodies are changing. So several studies have found that smoking is an independent risk factor for premature facial wrinkling and aging. The more a person smokes, the greater the risk, of course. So, however, when you stop smoking or using tobacco products, there is reduced discoloration and staining of the skin. There's increased blood flow that makes your complexion look less gray and pale, which is one of the most differences in your skin before and after quitting. And as your skin gets more nutrients and oxygen, your face might even appear brighter with a healthy glow after you quit.
So what about my thinking on this and looking at people who smoke and their age, et cetera, is that their skin is affected by this too. Red, and it's more wrinkled or more, I don't know, that's probably not the right word. But I think their skin definitely reflects that they've smoked all their life. Is that not true?
Oh, absolutely. There's actually been blind studies done that people use just different pictures of non-smokers and smokers, and people are instructed to pick out the smoker, and you can usually tell by their attributes.
Interesting. What are some common myths and misconceptions about cigarette smoking and quitting?
Oh, there are many misconceptions about cigarettes, and I really attribute that to how tobacco products are marketed. Even way back in the 1920s, the first medical reports linking smoking to lung cancer started to come out, but newspaper editors refused to report these findings because they didn't want to offend the tobacco companies who advertised heavily in the media. So major medical reports started coming around in the 1950s, 60s, confirming that tobacco did cause a large range of serious diseases. But even now, big tobacco pushes their message by placing ads in well-known magazines like Sports Illustrated and other publications that give the misconception that smoking is really not harmful, and it might in fact be what the people that you look up to do. Cigarette smoking remains the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. It does cause cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung diseases, diabetes, COPD. Smoking also increases the risk for things like tuberculosis, COVID, certain eye diseases, diseases of the immune system, including rheumatoid arthritis. So it really affects a large variety of things in our body. But another misconception of that is occasional smoking or social smoking is safe. And this is not the case at all. Even one cigarette a day increases the risk of heart disease by up to 40%.
Jeez.
I also hear a lot of people tell me, Ashley, it's too late for me to quit. The damage is already done. What's the point now? And that is absolutely false. The damage from smoking improves very quickly after quitting at any age. Many of the health effects of smoking reverse quite rapidly. Quitting after the age of 50 reduces your risk of dying in the next 15 years by half. The risk of a heart attack falls by 50% after 3 years, my apologies. The case of lung cancer drops to half in 10 years. And the benefits of quitting are greatest, of course, when you stop earlier. However, quitting at any age, even 60 plus, increases life expectancy up to 3 years compared to those who continue to smoke.
Have you ever seen any of the commercials from the 1950s and 60s on television?
Oh, yes.
I recommend to my doctors in white coats and stuff. I'm Dr. Dada, and I recommend with a micronite filter to my patients to smoke.
Yes.
It's the best cigarette. I'm thinking, my
And
gosh.
it really wasn't that long ago that we were all smoking in social settings. We were smoking in hospitals. The doctor would walk into your room, smoking a cigarette, and telling you you had a heart attack. It was not that long ago.
I watch in the evenings. I watch reruns of Johnny Carson's show, and Johnny Carson is right there on television smoking cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember some of his last words was, he said, "Those damn cigarettes have taken me,"
Yes.
or something like that. He said, and then I thought, my gosh, you smoked on television all your life. What'd you do off television?
Sure.
So crazy.
On average, how many times does a smoker try to quit, and why is it so difficult?
Most smokers, they want to quit. Half of them will try to quit this year. Generally, it takes around 8 to 11 attempts to really get it right. Each time we try to quit, though, we learn more about what was successful, what wasn't successful. And from this, we're able to really build a stronger next attempt at quitting for good. So nicotine does remain the main additive in drug and tobacco, but that makes quitting so hard, that nicotine. So cigarettes are designed to rapidly deliver that nicotine to your brain. And inside your brain, those nicotine receptors, they get triggered. They start releasing chemicals. One of the most important ones is called dopamine, and that makes you feel good. During the first week of quitting, you're trying to find the stability with dopamine levels and managing withdrawal symptoms. A quit attempt becomes much more successful with using a combination of counseling and medications to help manage these fluctuations in the body.
Very interesting.
Is there a safe number of cigarettes to smoke?
I think this is maybe another one of those misconceptions. Each cigarette you smoke exposes you to nicotine and other harmful chemicals. It really does increase your risk for heart disease and cancer. The negative effects of smoking add up over the course of your life. So there is no safe number of cigarettes. So the best choice is to not smoke at all.
So what can people use to replace cigarettes?
This is a really good question and very, very helpful whenever people are trying to quit smoking, as there's multiple different uses for nicotine replacement therapies. There are nicotine patches, nicotine gum, and lozenges. These come in different doses, so it is encouraged that you work with your healthcare provider to help decide what dose or what item is best for you. These therapies supply nicotine without the hundreds and thousands of harmful chemicals that cigarette smoke contains. So nicotine replacement really helps lessen the uncomfortable feelings that come along whenever you stop using. When used as directed, most people get enough nicotine from the nicotine replacement therapy to avoid having those overwhelming cravings and withdrawal symptoms. Using the combination of a long-acting patch and a short-acting gum or lozenger, those really help reduce the symptoms even more, and they're proven more effective at helping people quit. Both of these are something that you use and gradually reduce over several weeks, so your brain can really get used to working without so much nicotine, increasing your dopamine levels, and it'll become easier with each passing day to quit. There are also some medications that you can get that are not over the counter, like the items that I just listed. These medications are prescribed by a doctor, and there are Chantix or Wellbutrin. These medications work by decreasing withdrawal symptoms and reducing the urge to smoke. So if these sound like something that might be helpful for you, I encourage you to reach out to your healthcare provider to determine if Chantix or Wellbutrin might be appropriate for you.
It's time for our first break, Ashley. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
All white.
Welcome back to Health Matters with Medicine Center Pharmacy. Friends, just a reminder to stop by the pharmacy and talk to a pharmacist about the new Health Matters Drug Savings Program. We want to help you stay well and save money.
All right, before the break, you mentioned several alternatives to help assist with replacing cigarettes. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask about e-cigarettes or vaping. Is that a safe alternative?
Great question. Another question that I hear quite often. E-cigarettes are not a safe alternative. Most e-cigarettes do deliver nicotine, which is that highly addictive substance that we've been talking about. Most people use e-cigarettes and they get even more nicotine exposure due to higher doses of nicotine from the e-liquid, but also because of increased use of the product itself. It's more accepted to vape in more places. It doesn't have that unpleasant smell. So people often do it more in more areas. But e-cigarettes have the potential to really cause a lot of harm in our bodies. In addition to the nicotine, the e-cigarette vapor includes potentially harmful substances. As users breathe in those toxins, non-users nearby do have a increased risk of secondhand exposure. The e-cigarettes have also been linked to thousands of cases of serious lung injury, some even including death. The CDC recommends that people do not use e-cigarettes in general, but certainly not as a safe alternative to cigarettes.
How much of the market do they have? I mean, what kind of sales? I mean, are they monstrous or?
I would say it's going to be even bigger than cigarettes.
Wow. Okay. So what are common withdrawal symptoms and how can they be managed from smoking?
There are a lot of different symptoms that can happen whenever we are withdrawing from nicotine. So trying to quit smoking feels different for each person, but most will have some sort of symptoms from nicotine withdrawal. Almost everyone who smokes regularly has cravings or urges to smoke when they quit. So they might be mild, they can be sometimes feeling overwhelming and really controlling. Figuring out how to deal with those cravings is one of the most important things that we can do to stay successful. So there are lots of things that you can do to manage your urges or cravings. Figuring out your triggers is the big one. Make sure that you're thinking about people around you who you usually smoke with, a place you often smoke, things that you used to correlate with smoking, like waking up in the morning and having a cup of coffee. We have to break those bonds and rebuild new ones. Even a thought or a feeling can trigger a craving, but other thoughts can help you get through that craving, like remembering why you're quitting, remembering that you never have to give in to a craving, that you're stronger than your cravings, and it will pass. Usually it's only about 5 to 10 minutes. It's very common to feel irritated or grouchy. I think this is one of the common understandings of when people try to quit. many people that never even smoked, they know that this is a part of quitting. So knowing it's normal can be helpful. Reminding yourself that you likely feel this way because your body is just getting used to being without nicotine. Taking a few breaths can help remind yourself of why you're quitting. Feeling jumpy or restless during the first days or weeks is even quite normal. Just like your mind is getting irritated without the nicotine at first, and your body can react to that as well. So doing some physical activity can help, getting up and walking around for a little bit if you feel restless, or trying to cut back on other stimulants like coffee and tea or other caffeinated drinks when you're quitting smoking. You may also feel like you're hungrier whenever you're quitting. It's normal for your appetite to increase some when you quit. So you might feel like you're eating more out of stress of quitting, or you need something to do with your hands. Food is even more enjoyable after you quit smoking because your sense of smell and taste are not being dulled anymore. So you might see yourself snacking a little bit more often, and people may see a slight weight gain with that, but it's important for our health to quit sooner rather than later. The health risk of continuing to smoke greatly outweighs the health risk of gaining a few pounds. So there's simple ways that we can do to control those few pounds as well. And it's a bonus because it's building healthy behaviors for the lifetime. Things like smart snacking, choosing nutritiously dense foods like fruits and veggies, not eating mindlessly. So being really focused and aware on your meal versus having your face in your device. Sometimes people feel those mood changes after they quit. Watching for this, especially if you've ever had anxiety or depression. So really focusing on getting your support system around you, and don't be tricked just thinking, oh, it's just my smoking. Sometimes you might have to reach out to your healthcare provider for a little extra help whenever you're quitting, especially if you have that in your history. There's other ways that we can deal with withdrawal symptoms and mood changes as well. Good news is that once people have been smoke-free for a few months, their anxiety and depression levels are usually a lot lower when they were smoking, because for the short term, these symptoms felt unbearable, but we can really manage by getting active, promoting dopamine levels to rise, staying busy to avoid the boredom, connecting with other people for their support, rewarding yourself with things that you enjoy. All these things will really add up and make you feel better. So, of course, the nicotine replacement therapies that we had just discussed, these are all designed to really lessen all of those negative things that I just listed. So these are really, really proven to help manage withdrawal symptoms and over time keep you smoke-free.
Okay, so what about, do we quit alone or do we get involved in a cessation support group?
That's a great question, because a lot of people try to quit alone at first, or they try cold turkey quits, and smoking cessation support groups help you identify the mental, the physical, the social aspects of smoking. And participants are 6 times more likely to be smoke-free 1 year later than those who are just trying to do all of those things on their own.
What about cold turkey quit? Hey, I'm going to quit,
And it does work. It works sometimes. The number is usually around 3 to 5% of people who are successful with a cold turkey quit. In other words, that means 95% of us need some other sort of support to help us quit.
I did it 60 years ago.
Wonderful. You are part of the 3 to 5%.
Okay. No, it was, everybody was smoking everywhere at work.
Oh, yes.
And there were waitresses and the servers and da 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 da. And well, I'm being a pharmacist. I was busy. I couldn't smoke. I didn't have time. So my profession helped me without medicine. Okay.
Absolutely.
So where are we at, Brad? We ready to go?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes before our break. So
Okay.
do you have anything else to talk about for cravings for managing them, or do you feel like we've covered those pretty well?
There's a lot of different cravings that people have. One of the most common ones that people tell me isn't necessarily a craving, but it's something that leads to a craving, which is stress. And that's the biggest reason that most people either 1, picked up smoking, or 2, continued to smoke. So managing and figuring out why and where our stress is coming from is a really big one. So identifying What things are stressing you? Is it situations? Is it people? Is it work? Is it time? Is it your emotions? And really diving deep into those things. Why are they triggering me? Can I control those things? And out of that question, if you can't control it, we have to really work hard to try to let those things go. But the things that we can control are the things that we really need to focus on. Out of this, what is the positives that I can control? What are the things that I can do to help manage my stress? Because nicotine really just masks our stress levels. It says, it puts a Band-Aid on it. It says, you're fine, you're okay. But then when you take that Band-Aid back off, the wound is still very much open in there. So learning how to manage our stress levels can really, really help us be successful in maintaining our quit.
Okay, it's bottom of the hour. Time for the news, Ashley. Thanks for joining us this morning on Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
You are listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your host and pharmacist, Paul White. This morning, we are talking with Ashley Everetts, Pulmonary Rehabilitation Lead and Cardiopulmonary Rehabilitation at Aultman, Deuble, Heart, and Vascular Hospital. That's a tough one. Okay.
It is. You did it that time.
Okay. Hey, before this gets away from us, all right, the time. All right. We're hell-bent out there, they seem to want to legalize marijuana smoking. Now, what's the lung damage, bodily damage with that?
Yeah, that's another really good question that I get quite often from patients. They say, well, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I do smoke weed. And it is illegal in most states. Some states have legalized it. Ultimately, you are still doing damage to your lungs whenever you are inhaling weed or cigarettes or any toxins, really. So the best advice is to avoid smoking any product, whether it be nicotine or marijuana.
Okay. I think I'm hearing that they're trying to legalize some amount of that in Ohio, but I might be wrong on that. Okay. But I think that's one of the things that's in the legislature.
I'm sure that there's things on the docket.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think let's make sure we got everything in for cravings that you wanted to share. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about for cravings when you're trying to quit?
Absolutely. There are a lot of cravings that people can have whenever you're starting to quit, especially within those first 3 days. Those are probably going to be the days that those cravings really hit you. So as more time passes, those cravings do lessen. And a lot of people ask, well, will they ever go away? And unfortunately, that answer is no. Once you've activated those nicotine receptors, there will always be some craving in your mind. But the good news is as time goes, there does become fewer and farther in between times of those cravings. So to deal with the cravings immediately when you're first trying to quit, planning ahead is really helpful. Thinking about how you would resist those cravings ahead of time is what you're going to do to overcome them. So making a list, writing down reasons why you're quitting to remind you really what your intentions are, and posting that list or keeping it somewhere. I have a lot of patients that keep it right within their wallet, so it's on their person at all times, reminding yourselves about the good things about quitting. Your list might include things like, I will have more energy, my clothes and my breath will smell better. The longer I do not smoke, the less I will crave cigarettes. A lot of people also put in there, it's because of my health or because of my family. This is why I'm doing this. Making rules for yourself is really going to kind of be your structure too. So you might find yourself thinking, I can just smoke one cigarette, but any cigarette that you smoke will tempt you to smoke more. So rules provide that structure to help you say no. They might include things like, when I have a craving, I will wait at least 10 minutes to see if it passes. Or when I have a craving, I will walk up and down the stairs 5 times. And you can also plan rewards for each stage of quitting that you get through. So the longer that you go without smoking, the bigger the reward. For instance, Another day without smoking, you reward yourself with a new book or a new DVD or something that gives you enjoyment. After 1 week, you visit a place that you've wanted to go for a long time, like a park or a museum or a city. You can also talk back to yourself, and this can be good, this can be negative. I want to make sure that this is all phrased in a positive light, that there might be times that you really want a cigarette. It's just been such a stressful day, but give yourself a positive pep talk. So cravings are part of quitting, and I can get through this. I do have the strength to get through this. Or every day that I go without smoking, quitting will get easier. It's just hard right now, but I've done hard things like this before, and I can do this. The other component about avoiding our cravings or minimizing our cravings is avoiding the temptation. So think about all of the potential high-risk situations that might make you want to smoke. When possible, really try to avoid these situations. For example, you might need to avoid spending time with friends who smoke, or going to high-risk places like bars or attending parties for a little while. Spending time in public places where smoking is not allowed is highly encouraged. Try to do things that you enjoy, doing things like shopping or going to a movie, or surrounding yourself with your non-smoking friends and family is a really good way to support this. This way you can start associating with having fun and not smoking, kind of breaking those bonds that we were talking about earlier. The big one that we can do any time of day is distract ourselves. So keep our hands, our mouth is busy, so we're not as used to handling cigarettes. So you can hold a pen or a stress ball or even a rubber band that you wear around your wrist. You can do things like chew sugar-free gum or nicotine gum, of course, or holding a straw or stick in your hand. I even find that cinnamon stick works really well for this because it gives you kind of that tingly sensation that nicotine would do in your mouth as well. You can also practice new ways to relax. So many people use smoking to relieve stress, as we mentioned. Trying a new relaxation technique could help you remain calm, taking deep breaths in through your nose, holding for 5 seconds, and exhaling slowly through your mouth. I might have had to do that a few times before we went live today. I tell you, it really works.
Come on.
I did, I swear. You can also do things that just make you happy, that really promote that dopamine in you. Things like listening to music you like, or reading a book, listening to an audiobook. You can also try active things like yoga, or mental things like visualization that can help keep you calm and focused on your goal. Exercise is a really good way to benefit you in many ways, but also whenever you're trying to curb those nicotine cravings, moving your body may help reduce the cravings. And of course, it gives you that feeling of well-being and calm as well.
Did you mention gum chewing?
Oh, let's talk about the gum chewing really quickly, because it does come along with a misconception as well, because chewing our nicotine gum isn't just like chewing regular gum. Whenever you're using nicotine gum, make sure you pop it in your mouth, chew, 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 and then you're going to park it in between your lip and your gum, and you're going to keep it there. And once you start feeling that little tingle that we talked about, you know it's working. You can take it for about 20 minutes. If it starts to go away, you can maybe get a little bit more out of that gum, pop it back in, chew, 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 just until you feel that tingle, and then park it again. You don't want to continually chew gum like you would sugar-free gum or regular gum, because that nicotine can get into the stomach and then cause you some sort of GI upset. And that would just not lead you to being the most successful in your quit. So make sure you chew, 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 and park that nicotine gum.
And regular gum?
Regular gum, use that as you wish.
Okay. No worky, huh?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So what, as a friend or a family member, how can I support them if they're trying to quit?
This is a good question, especially for our listeners that may not be smokers themselves, and you want to be able to help your family, your friend, your loved one. So remembering to do as much listening as possible so you can understand where your family friend is at, offering them support, encouragement. The key is really being patient and positive with these people, because a lot of times they're down on themselves already. They know that they should quit. They're struggling with their quit, and it is not beneficial to sort of harp on that person. So offering them distractions to help maintain their quit and celebrating their successes are really where we see the most leaps and bounds when you're talking about supporting a friend or a loved one that's trying to quit smoking. So try to be as kind and caring as possible to them and offer them maybe some supporting options like our Give It Up program, which we're going to talk about here in a second.
Well, let's just talk about the Give It Up program at Aultman.
All right, that sounds good. So our Give It Up program at Aultman Hospital, it is a course that happens over 6 sessions. So it's 6 weeks, it's 1 hour each week. So your commitment to this program is really 6 hours of your time. And it covers everything from how to create a quit plan, tips on staying tobacco free. We help examine your tobacco use history, identify barriers that have kept you from quitting in the past, or we even help identify, all right, you've quit in the past, what was helpful, what wasn't helpful. Creating a quit plan is also part of our program. It includes a specific stop date to quit using. And then we learn ways to combat obstacles associated with quitting, like stress, withdrawal, cravings. And we create a plan to help you stay tobacco-free in the future as well. So the best part of this program is it is a completely free program. Aultman Hospital is really passionate about leading our community to improved health, which is why our classes are offered to the community free of charge.
Wow.
So how do you sign up for the program?
You can sign up for this program by going online to our website at aultman.org/giveitup or aultman.org/tobacco cessation. That one's just a little hard to spell. Either website will get you to the same place. So aultman.org/giveitup or /tobacco cessation. You can also give us a call at 330-363-5403. If you have any questions or just need a little bit more encouragement about the program, we can give you some more information.
You know, just for a little bit of flavor, I think sometimes it helps if people can understand maybe what a experience would be like. So can you talk about where the classes are and maybe, you know, is it, you know, a group setting, individual, a little bit of both? Can you maybe give a flavor there? Or?
Absolutely. So we'll start with when and where. So the classes are offered at a variety of times throughout our year. They're in person at Aultman Hospital, and they're also virtually. So you can do this right from your own home. The only thing that you would need is either a smartphone or a computer with a camera and a microphone. You can head to our website that I just mentioned, aultman.org/giveitup. And you can see a list of dates and times that we're offering. Our next offering does start on June 1st. That class is from 11:30 to 12:30. And these are in a group format. Usually there's a small group. It's usually probably around, I would say 3 to 6 people attending our courses, and they're from all different walks of life. So we see patients that are, patients in the hospital that are coming through our cardiac or our pulmonary rehab programs, and they're using this as a way to reduce the risk of ending up in a COPD flare or ending up back in the hospital needing another stent. We also see younger people who don't yet have issues from smoking, but they know that it's important to their health. They might have high blood pressure, or they might have a family history, and then that compounded with their smoking, they really are starting to focus on their health. So we see lots of different people here. We even have classes that are for our teenagers or teens that are vaping. These teenagers, they're in a different class. These ones usually are after school. They are 2 times, so 2 45-minute courses. And the idea behind it is to identify their reasons for vaping and using, and helping them develop their quit program as well. So you can also go online to that same website if maybe your teen or someone that you know could benefit from that teen vaping program. The only thing there is they do have to come along with a parent. So the parents can come along right to Aultman Hospital or virtually as well. We can help them out as well.
Okay, our final break is here. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Welcome back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's get back to the last segment of the show.
All right. Let's talk, Ashley. Let's remind our listeners that maybe could be just joining us, the benefits of quitting tobacco products.
Yes, quitting tobacco products really improves our health status. It enhances our quality of life, reduces the risk of premature death. and can add as much up to 10 years of our life expectancy. So this also reduces our risk for many adverse health effects like poor reproductive health outcomes, cardiovascular diseases, of course, as we've mentioned before, COPD, and cancer. So many, many benefits from health related. Even we first started talking today about sort of our physical appearance as well and how that improves when we're quitting as well.
You know, I've seen fascinating charts or graphs in the past about how quickly someone will experience benefits of quitting tobacco. And I'm sure you're very familiar with them. So I think it'd be fun if you could share those, because it almost seems too good to be true, in my opinion. But
yeah, it's really amazing how fast we can start to see improvements in our health. So in as little as 24 hours, the nicotine levels in our blood drops to 0. After 12 hours, so half that time, the carbon monoxide levels in our body, which reminding what is carbon monoxide? That's that pesky little detector that you have in your home that monitors for this odorless gas and will alert you if the levels are high. So whenever we smoke cigarettes, the carbon monoxide level in our body increases. So after just 12 hours, those levels drop and they're comparable to someone who's a non-smoker. So 12 hours, your carbon monoxide levels are dropping, and as little as 24 hours, your nicotine levels are dropping. The risk of coronary artery disease really falls sharply when you hit that 1 year mark. So 50% reduction in coronary artery disease after you hit 1 year. After 5 years, cancer risks are cut in half. And that's multiple different cancers. That's from throat to one of the most common cancers, which is kind of a interesting fact. One of the most common cancers of smoking is actually bladder cancer. So that one's actually cut in half as well. For 15 years, the risk of heart disease is that of a non-smoker. So 15 years, you are at no more of a risk than someone who's never smoked. So truly wonderful kind of benchmarks that you can keep looking forward to as you're quitting.
Very interesting.
Well, that's really interesting. Yeah. So, you know, I think it would be a good idea too for you to share some resources because, you know, everything you read on the internet's true, but I'm sure you have the go-to resources for patients and family members that are looking for the best smoking cessation data. So where do we go?
Absolutely. In the age of technology, there are so many resources out there to help you quit. There are also many resources out there that might not necessarily be giving you the appropriate information. So some of my favorite ones that we've kind of put through the ringer here and making sure that everything is appropriate on there. Some of them are the Quit Start app. So this is a free app on your smartphone that will help you give you quit tips, monitor your progress, and provide distractions. So it even has little games and challenges whenever you're dealing with those cravings, things that will help keep you distracted and not focusing on smoking a cigarette. There is also Quit with a K, so it's KWIT, and that functions sort of as a pocket coach to help quit smoking, and that's really through behavioral changes, behavioral therapies. These are both free, but they also have subscription options. Use the free version of it. If you're finding really good success with it, my suggestion is buy the subscription because ultimately it's going to get you to your quit and it's going to end up saving you a lot of money that you would otherwise spend on cigarettes if you didn't have this option. There are also other websites that you can go to that focus on quitting smoking. So things like smokefree.gov, tobaccofree.org. There are many podcasts on listening platforms. There's also the National Quit Line, which is 1-800-QUIT-NOW. There are really so many resources out there to really explore.
Wow.
All right. Well, we will make sure to put those in our show notes so that listeners and visitors can make sure they can access that. I think that we should also add your contact info for your Quit Now program at Aultman. So you want to list that info again and your phone number?
Yes. Yeah. The best way to get involved in the Give It Up program is by signing up online. And again, that is altman.org/giveitup. You can also go to altman.org/tobacco cessation. That will take you right to the same page. You can also get in contact with our Cardiopulmonary Rehab Department at 330-363-5403. and our staff members can give you some more information and help you sign up if you might not be the most tech savvy. So just give us a call and we can help you out.
Wow.
So how about some takeaways for our listeners as we roll into Memorial Day weekend with new plans to be healthier and plan for being smoke-free?
Yeah, so that's a great thing, because over our holiday weekends, we do see either people that are committed to quitting. I have a gentleman in my class right now who is a veteran, and he is using Memorial Day as his day to quit smoking. So we can really look at it as a positive thing. But we also need to be aware that those might come along with those high risk situations that we were looking at. So try to prepare yourself for these things. If you are trying to quit, make sure you let your friends and family know that you are quitting. Sometimes we kind of keep it secret because we don't want people to know. Maybe we're afraid of failing, but really we're trying to quit. There's no failure here. Each time we do it, we're learning something. So let the family members that you'll be around know, so they can give you some extra support over the holidays, especially.
You know, it's going to be a perfect weekend, so maybe they should get out and pull weeds instead of smoking. What do you think, guys?
You can come on over to my house too.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, it's probably bad that I use weed killer instead of pulling them. Okay. That's probably
Maybe.
bad. It's probably bad too. Okay. Well, it's very interesting what you told us today. It is just absolutely amazing to me the number of people are still smoking, and many cigarettes in a day's time, and it just, my father told me many years ago when he caught me smoking at 16. Okay, he said, "Now, son," he said, "when you get up in the morning, now your mouth is going to have a terrible taste in it, you know, and da da da." And there wasn't a whole lot of, oh, it's bad for your health. It was taste free, you know, da da da, and all that sort of thing. But it was kind of interesting because myself and a friend of mine went to a drive-in movie, and we were watching a movie and smoking, of course, and the windows were open, you know, and so we get home, and the ashes are all over the side of the car, and that's how he caught us. Okay. At age 16. So, but anyway, that was probably good stuff, you know. So
It is interesting how far we've come with tobacco cessation, because a lot of people did start when they were really young, or they started smoking when they were in the service. And I think the young people like you, whenever you were smoking, some people would even make their kids eat cigarettes to kind of give that bad GI upset. So that would correlate with a really bad response, and they would quit smoking. Not necessarily FDA approved, but I don't know if it worked in the past. I'm not sure, but we've come a long way since then.
I was in the Army, and it was, they sold cigarettes for $2 a carton, okay, and the PXs and all that. And I thought to myself, my God, this is really an incentive to, you know, to be smoking. I have no clue what it's like now in the military, but I would probably guess that they'd be pulled back.
Yeah, they are definitely not in military rations anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, that they're in the rations. So
Yes.
but some of the rations were pretty good. But those cigarettes. How are we doing, Brad?
I
think we're out of here.
We're out of here. Okay. Thank you very much, Ashley Everetts. We enjoyed talking with you. Pulmonary Rehabilitation Lead, Cardiopulmonary Rehabilitation at Aultman, Deuble, Heart and Vascular Hospital. Did I get it?
You did. Thank you guys for having me, and have a safe and thankful Memorial Day.